Mr. Krishna, you have had a Kundalini experience. I wish you could explain what a Kundalini experience is and what its ramifications are.
Before I start to describe my own experience, perhaps it would be better to give a little detail about what Kundalini means. We are not using the totality of the human brain. According to various estimates, most of us use only 10% of the brain, and according to some, only 8%. That means 90% of the brain is unutilized. That is, there is still a large margin in the brain which could be used for other purposes, and nature has provided it for certain purposes which are not yet known to science. According to the Indian tradition, there is a region in the brain below the crown and above the palate which is called Brahmarendra, or the cavity of Brahman. This region can be activated by certain disciplines, and when activated, it can give to the individual the same vision of the universe which all great mystics of the earth have described. When it is awakened, the normal energy of the body or the blood is not able to fuel the center. It needs a more powerful and concentrated psychic fuel. This fuel comes from the reproductive system, which is transformed into a kind of radiation, and that radiation awakens and makes the center to function. In my case, the awakening occurred at the age of 34 in 1937. I had been meditating for 70.
You can keep on talking. Keep on, the camera's rolling.
For 17 years, and then all of a sudden, during Christmas, while I was sitting cross-legged in a state of meditation, a strange thing happened. Something exploded in my brain, and a current of silvery light rising through my spine irradiated my whole brain, and I felt myself expanding in all directions. This expansion was so incredible, so amazing, that I thought that something unusual had happened in my interior. After this, I had 2 other experiences of the same kind after short intervals, and after that it ceased. But something was changing in me, and I could perceive this change for many, many years, day and night. In fact, I passed through grave crises during that period. Finally, I became stabilized in that condition of consciousness in my, I should say, 49th year. Since that time, I am living in that condition. That is, before my 34th year, I was living in this world, thinking, seeing, perceiving in the same way as other people do. But since my 49th year, I am living in two different worlds. One is the normal world of senses and the reason. The other is the world which is much higher, much more happy, and which is totally against, apart from anything that we can know of the earth. It is the world of consciousness.
How do you see the world? In auras or lights?
In the normal state, we see light and shade, colors, shape and size. Also, we hear we know what all people perceive of this world. I can understand what you perceive of it. You can understand what I perceive of it. That is, this perception is uniform. Everyone has the same perception. But this other perception is different. In this perception, you do not see the world as a solid, real, objective creation. The real objective creation is consciousness. You see consciousness everywhere. You see the ocean as if it is living. You see a mountain as if it is living. You see the sky as if it is living. You see the earth as if it is living. You see life or consciousness everywhere. And this life or consciousness is not something which is dead or which is something which you can really understand. It is unfathomable, it is a wonder, and every time you see it, you perceive it, the wonder grows deeper. I am never tired of sitting in quiet and reflecting on myself. I am never tired at looking on the sky. The sky to me does not appear as it appeared before my 34th year. It is so fascinating. It is such a beautiful vision that I would like to look at it for days and months on end. In other words, in the interior, a fount of happiness, a new kingdom, I should say, is opened. This is probably what Christ meant, the kingdom of heaven is in you. This is the nirvana of Buddha. This is the Brahman of the Upanishads. And this is the state of Vahdat mentioned by the Sufi mystics. In fact, in this unitive state, what we perceive is consciousness in its majestic form, in its glorious form, and not consciousness as a point looking through the eyes or hearing through the ears, but a consciousness which has its own channels and which knows that it is the master and not the slave of the material forces, which knows that it is the creator. It is infinite. It is deathless. That is, one, instead of being a pygmy, in this state, feels himself to be a king. feels himself to be the master of what he sees. It is not the ego, I should say. It is not the ego. It is the very condition of this consciousness